So what's up, guys? It's about 11:30 in the morning, December 22nd. I'm chilling with my dogs. They're wrestling. Chill out. This is Maddox, and this is Maddox, the boy, right here, my boy. And the little runt nipping on me is Zoe, the poodle. Zoe and Maddox. That's Maddox. Yeah. Named after Greg Maddox. And then Zoe, we just got her a couple months ago from a friend of my mom's. She gave her over to us. I guess they didn't want her anymore. Now that I have her, I see why. She chews on everything, man. Chews on lighters. Chewed on my hat, one of my favorite hats. It was awful. It was awful. But I'll introduce myself. You know, my name's Zach Morgan. Just doing a little vlog, man. Yeah, it's messy. I know. It's messy. Lost a lighter, so don't know what I'm gonna do with that. So, anyways, I'll take a chance to say something semi-profane while I'm on here, and I was thinking about this just a few seconds ago because I put it on Facebook, and I was watching some knockouts, and I was watching some Michael Venom Page stuff, and that dude's amazing, man. That dude, ability to close distance, the power he has, and just the way he does it, hands down, unorthodox style, and will switch between stances. That's crazy. You know, it's a crazy way of fighting, but it works for him. But anyways, I was thinking, this is really like a renaissance of martial arts, because this is the first time in history, you know, since UFC and Bellator came on the scene, and Pride really too, really got a chance to see the real martial arts from the bullshit. Because, you know, there was a lot of bullshit in Eastern Chinese and down there, you know, which there's been BS all over the world, but especially over there, you know, all these monks and everything, you know, and it really got to show that, like, wrestling's a really good martial art. Obviously, boxing is the best thing for your hands, best hand training. I mean, just boxing. Kickboxing is very effective, but you know, people would say they'd get their chi and all this. So, you know, it's nothing nobody hasn't said before, but it's really gotten shown, you know, what works and what doesn't, and then some things that work for certain people that don't work for other people, but are still viable. Different techniques, you know, and then also boxing. I mean, I feel like because people are into MMA, that naturally lends them to be curious in boxing, because I mean, a lot of the audience that for MMA, you know, probably came from boxing, since boxing's so much older. I mean, literally 100 years older than the UFC. But you know, jiu-jitsu obviously proven, wrestling obviously proven, you know. Like, opposed to these very philosophically driven, fancy, but when they would, you know, like, what's the, IKEA? I call it, I don't know what to call it. I forget, Inoki. It's some y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a martial art where they do all these flips and they use the dude's momentum against them, which is a real technique, but it's not like you can just do this at will, you know, and they're flipping people over their back, and you know, and the people that they're flipping are allowing themselves to be flipped. It's not live resistance like a wrestling match, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a wrestler would take one of those dudes down in a second. You know, the BS. Like, we know Sambo works. Sambo's very effective. It's very much like jiu-jitsu. You know, Habib, 2-time Sambo champion, number 2 pound for pound in the world. And the only reason he's not number 1 pound for pound in the world is because a guy named Jon Jones is number one pound for pound in the world. It's pretty hard to argue against that guy. Not only is he pretty much he's undefeated, except I mean technically he has a loss, but you know he beat himself. The guy didn't beat him. Like he was winning the fight. You know, need him illegally. But you know, whatever. That's not like a real L. But nobody's beat Habib either. But Jon Jones has been in the UFC, and if you look, what separates him from like Emelianenko, I think, in my eyes, even though Emelianenko is an absolute monster. I don't care who you are, to go undefeated in MMA for 10 plus years is crazy. That's insanity. That's crazy. It's not like boxing. MMA is not like boxing. There's so many different ways you can lose. There's so many different looks techniques that people imply. But anyways, Jon, the records, the people they fought. If you look at Jon Jones' record, it is a murderer's row. Who's who of UFC? Vitor Belfort, Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Shogun Rua, Daniel Cormier twice, Chael Sonnen. The list goes on and on. And then you got Thiago Alves, Anthony Smith, Gustafsson twice, Oven St. Preux, you know, I mean, tough guys, the best of the best, like big names in the sport, and you know, just blows them out of the water, you know what I mean? Not necessarily past 2 or 3 fights, and I think that might have something. If he did dope, it wouldn't surprise me. But like Nate says, everybody's on steroids. But anyways, you know, this Jon Jones, like, it's not like he's a knockout artist necessarily. Like, he can just beat you in tons of different ways. He can outpoint you. You know, he's not a super busy fighter. He's not out there throwing like Michael Bisping, Max Holloway. But at the same time, he's clinching a lot. You know, he can do everything. The kid can do everything. He can kick, he can punch, he can clinch, he can grapple, he can fight off his back. He can obviously fight on top. He knows submissions. He's hard to submit. He's hard to take down. He can take you down, like however you want it. Then there's the also nuance, spinning back elbows. You got the weird leg kicks to your knee, and obviously his length. I mean, he's just like a artificial perfect fighter, you know. And people always talk about how he's skinny. Like, dude, Jon Jones is not skinny. What are y'all talking about? That dude is not skinny at all, bro. Like, that's insanity to call that guy skinny. Like Paulo Costa was saying, or at least Stylebender said that Paulo Costa was saying something like, you're too skinny. That's nonsense, man. You look at boxers, the best boxers, like Roy Jones, they're not super muscular, no neck, gigantic 24-inch Python Hulk Hogan arms. It's nice, toned down, low arms. But it's just all, you know, they just have great body mechanics, biomechanics, and they can just punch hard. And the muscles, they can just punch super hard, knock you out. I mean, that's Stylebender, and he's super technical. But that's why I put Jon Jones above Emelianenko, to me, as the greatest fighter of all time. And I think other people would agree with that. Or the greatest of the upper weight classes. And one thing I've thought of, too, is, though, Emelianenko, like Stipe defended his belt 4 times, right? Emelianenko in the same division, heavyweight division, went undefeated for 10 years, right? So, since, for some reason, I don't know why, but heavyweight seems to be a revolving door. Like, if you get 3 or 4 title defenses, like, you're one of the best heavyweights ever. And in middleweight, like Anderson Silva, how many times did he defend his belt? Like 11? Something ridiculous? 17? I don't know. I don't remember. A lot. Tons. Nobody beat Anderson. Nobody beat Anderson Silva for a long time when he had the belt. But that's at 185. So the heavyweights, if you defend it 4 times like Stipe did, and then he won it back after losing a fight to Cormier, who's Daniel Cormier, then and then wins it back. But they were saying he's the most dominant heavyweight of all time. So something about the heavyweight division, they can't hold on to it. But Jon Jones is just... So Emelianenko, that's a credit to him, is what I'm saying. He's in the heavyweight division. Nobody's been able to be that successful in that division. For some reason, it's a tougher division to stay at the top for the longest. For what I guess because they can all get knocked out because they're heavyweights. So, but Jon Jones is just one weight class below that. So you think the same logic would slightly apply to light heavyweight more than you know what I mean? And then so Jon Jones beats who's who list. That's the biggest thing for me with Jon. And Anderson Silva did too, but Jon Jones doing it so young. That's but anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts. I'm rambling, but it's just I'm just recording myself for the sake of recording myself, creating a little video blog. Sorry if the camera's shaky. Sorry if you can't see me. But, yeah, I think it's a real renaissance, man. I think more people are into martial arts right now. I think the UFC is doing great. I think boxing is picking up a lot better. Maybe it's just me because I've gotten into it more, boxing. But, like, it seems to me that it's trending in the right direction. You know what I mean? That's my opinion of it, but I just think it's a great time for martial arts. More people are learning it. More people are watching it. What they say? 2.5 million views for the Khabib Conor versus Khabib fight. 2.5 million people ordered that pay-per-view. Pay $50 for that. Maybe I don't know how many companies, bars they take into account. But it's like every bar in the country, every bar with a bunch of television, every sports bar probably had that on. It's just crazy, right? But anyways, you guys, that's me right now. I'll probably record something of my life a little later. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Salud. See you next time. Peace.